evening, my dear students. I hope you are all doing great. And it's very long since we are going to get this chance to have a political class. So let's begin chapter 2 of our political part on page number 16. Okay? Types or classification of government. I believe in one section I have completed half, and in the other section I have not yet began. So let's begin from the beginning. Okay? So, types or classification of government. So here, keep in mind, classification of government means classification of states. Okay? Classification of government means classification of states. And then you have to keep in mind that Pluto, who is Pluto? Pluto is known to be an ancient Greek philosopher or thinker. Okay? So it's Pluto who initiated or began the classification of government. Okay? And then after Pluto comes his disciple, his student, Aristotle. Okay? It's his disciple Aristotle who classified the government into several types on the basis of the number of rulers and the objectives. So Aristotle classified the form of government into several types or different types based on the number of rulers and the objectives, the motive of the rulers. Is clear? Okay. So let's see. Let's see our Plato and Aristotle divided or classified the form of government into these 6 types. Okay? First one is monarchy. Second one is aristocracy. Third one is polity. Fourth one is tyranny. Fifth one is oligarchy, and sixth one is democracy. Okay? Let's see what these forms of government mean. Okay? So first of all let's see what is monarchy. I think most of you might have heard in the course of your studies that monarchy is a form of government where there is only one ruler. Keep in mind, there is only one ruler. There is only one ruler, and this ruler works for whom? For the welfare of the society. Works for the welfare of his people. Is it clear? Okay. Then second one is aristocracy. Aristocracy is a form of government where a few people come together and rule the country for the welfare of the common people. Is it clear? In monarchy, one ruler for the welfare of the common people. In aristocracy, a few people come together and rule the country for the welfare of the people. And again, polity. Polity, what happens? Here, many rulers are there. Okay? In polity, many rulers for whom? For the welfare of the people. Is it clear? So what happens? In polity, when many people come together and rule for the welfare of the people is known as polity. Okay? And then we shall see what is tyranny. Okay? Here, in tyrannical form of government, there is one ruler, okay? One ruler, but he governs the country against the interest of the common people. This is just opposite to monarchy. Okay? Tyrannical form of government is a form of government where there is one ruler and he rules the country against the interest of the common people. It's clear? Okay. Next one is oligarchy. What is oligarchy? Oligarchy is government by a few people. Okay? Government by a few people. For whom? For their own benefit. Is it clear? Oligarchy is a form of government by a few people for their own benefit. And if these rulers concentrate for their own benefit, definitely they will never concentrate on the benefits of the common people, as it's against the wish of the common people. Is it clear? Okay. And then one more point you have to keep in mind is oligarchy is just opposite to the aristocracy. Okay? And then democracy. What is democracy? All of you know, I suppose. Yes or no? Because from class 4, 5 onwards you have been studying democracy. Yes or no? So it is a system of government where the citizens of the state or citizens of the country exercise their power to rule the state either directly or indirectly by electing their representatives. Is it clear? Democracy is a form of government where the citizens of the country rule the country either directly or indirectly by electing their representatives. Is it clear? Okay. So this is all about the classification of government according to Plato and Aristotle. Is it clear? Okay, if you have understood this, we shall go to the modern classification of the government. Okay. Dear students, so what happened with the change of time? Okay, with the passage of time, this monarchy and aristocracy lost its relevance or it lost its importance. Okay, and at present, in most of the countries of the world, we see a form of government which is either democratic or a form of government which is either democratic in nature. Okay? You will be thinking now that in some countries of the world there are still kings and queens. What are they? Who are they? Okay? So let's clarify. Now, for example, in England, Nepal, Bhutan, what happens? Although there are king or queen, but they do not rule. Okay, they are not rulers. There is a government. Okay, and it's only a symbolic way, symbolic system to preserve their age-old traditions of royal crown. Is it clear? And what happens? The king or queen is not ruler, but the king or queen possesses what? Limited powers. Limited, it is known as limited monarchy. Okay, in these states too, democratic government exists, but the kings or queen are vested with limited powers. They do not have power. Okay, and then we shall see now the second part, that is Leacock's definition of Leacock's classification of government. Now before that, what happens? In this modern age, there came across so many political scientists who classified the modern form of government according to their views and according to their thoughts. Okay, but what happened? Stephen Leacock's classification of government is regarded as one of the most acceptable form of the classification of government. So let's see how he has classified the form of government. It's also known as modern government. So first of all, let's see. He classified modern government into two types. That is democracy and dictatorship. Okay? And again, democracy is being classified into limited monarchy and republic. And these two forms of government, limited monarchy and republic, is being again classified into unitary form of government and federal form of government. Okay? And again, unitary form of government and federal form of government is again classified into parliamentary form of government and presidential form of government. Is it clear? So this is the overall classification of Leacock. These four are very much democratic in nature, which is becoming popular day by day. So, in our lesson 2, our topic or subject of discussion will be these four forms of democracy. That is unitary form of government, federal form of government, parliamentary form of government and presidential form of government. Is it clear? Okay, now we shall see what is parliamentary form of government. We shall see in details. Okay. So dear students, in your book, page number 18, the parliamentary form of government. Okay. The parliamentary form of government is at present one of the most popular as well as revered form of government. Okay, revered means respectful form of government at present all over the country. Why it's so? It's so the parliamentary form of government is popular as well as revered. Why? Because there is a close relationship between the legislature and the executive. Okay, there is a close relationship between the legislature and the executive. Therefore, one is responsible to the other, and therefore this parliamentary form of government is one of the most popular form of government. So now let's see. Okay, before we come to the characteristics, you should know one more point, that is where the parliamentary form of government came into existence or came into being. It's none other than England. Okay, so the birth of the parliamentary form of government is England, its birthplace. So now let's see the characteristics. In your book it's very well given. The 5 characteristics of the parliamentary form of government. The first one is 2 heads. Okay? 2 heads. So there are 2 heads in the parliamentary form of government. One is the nominal executive. Okay? Nominal executive. And the second one is real executive. Okay? Understood? So real executive comprises of the Council of Ministers and the Prime Minister. Okay? the Council of Ministers under the leadership of Prime Minister is known as real executive, and President or King, Queen is known as nominal executive. Is it clear? Okay. And then you should know that the actual power lies with the real executive, that is the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. And President has only nominal power. He does not actualize the powers. But Prime Minister together with his Council of Ministers exercises the power. Okay, that is the first point. Now second point is that the members of the executive are also the members of legislature. The second point is the members of the executive are also the members of the legislature. That means all the members of the executive are or should be the members of the legislature. Without being the member of legislature, one cannot be the member of an executive. Is it clear? The third one is there is close relationship between legislature and executive, as I have already told you. So what happens? Legislature cannot be away from the executive, and executive cannot be away from the legislature. They have to always maintain close relationship. And then the fourth one is the Council of Ministers are responsible. For whom? They are responsible to the legislature. For every act, for every work they do, they are responsible before the legislature. Okay? And then if the legislature finds that an executive is failing to do the duty, what happened? They will be forced to pass no confidence motion. And if once no confidence motion is passed, the government may collapse. Now another question arises, that is, what is no confidence motion? So let me tell you what is no confidence motion. For example, now Amit Shah is the Home Minister of India. So if the members of the legislature find or feel that he is not capable of being the Home Minister of India, what happened? They will pass a vote of no confidence motion in the parliament. And if the vote is being passed with majority supporting, what will happen? He will be forced to resign. Is it clear? So this is known as no confidence motion. Okay. And then the fifth point is collective responsibility of the Council of Ministers. Prime Minister is not alone ruling the country. He is ruling the country with the help, with the support of the Council of Ministers. They are together collectively responsible for every act, every work they do. Understood? And then they cannot blame a single Council of Ministers. They are collectively taking the decisions and collectively executing the plans. Is it clear? Okay. So now let's see the merits of the parliamentary form of government. So first of all, I request you all to go through your book. Okay? It's on page number 19. So the merits of the parliamentary form of government. Merits means all of you know the advantages or what is the benefit, a beneficial part of the parliamentary form of government. So The first point says that in the parliamentary form of government there is proper understanding, good cooperation and cordial relation between executive and the legislature. So what happened? In the parliamentary form of government there is proper understanding, cordial relationship, a friendly relationship between the executive and the legislature. It's clear. The second one is the government can't act against the interest of the people. Is it clear? So government is always for whom? For the people. And therefore what happens? And this makes the Council of Ministers responsible towards the citizens. The third point, in the parliamentary form of government what happens? The executive or the Council of Ministers can't act in a dictatorial manner. If the government or the ruling party in power chooses to act in a dictatorial manner, the legislature can remove the government from power by passing no confidence motion. See, I told you what I told you, that a no confidence motion is being passed against an individual who fails to do his duty. In the same way, one of the advantages of the parliamentary form of government is that no confidence motion can also be passed against a government to bring down if it is becoming a dictatorial form of government. Is it clear? Okay, so fourth point is the parliamentary government functions by giving due importance to public opinion. See here, public opinion means the wishes of the people that go to government through different means. Now, for example, the government has to listen to what the media persons are saying, what an individual expresses, because our constitution gives us the fundamental right, that is right to expression. So the government has to listen and act according to the public opinion, the wish, the views of the public. Okay? And then the fifth point is the government is flexible type in nature. The process of changing the executive is very easy. That is, a government can't rule the country for more than 5 years. Our constitution says that after every 5 years there shall be an election whereby a new form of government is formed. Or if a party fails to have majority, that particular form of government is liable to collapse, or it is being brought down. That is the merits of the parliamentary form of government. Okay, and then now let's see the other way. So let's see now the demerits or the disadvantages of the parliamentary form of government. Don't think that the parliamentary form of government is the best one. No. It has its own defects, it has its own demerits. So the first one is, what is the first one? In this type of government, if no political party can form government by obtaining absolute majority, in that case there is the possibility of forming alliance government. So what happens? If a country fails after the election, the country fails to win, a single party fails to win the majority, there is the possibility of 2 or 3 forms or 2-3 different parties coming together and forming an alliance government. So in this case what happens? So in this case, if a single political party feels that their interest is not being fulfilled, they leave the government. and in this way there is a chance that a government can collapse. Understood? So let me tell you or clarify you what is an alliance government. An alliance government is a form of government whereby two or more political parties come together and form a government. Is it clear? Okay. So this is the first demerit of the parliamentary form of government. The second one is the ministers of the parliamentary form of government are generally found to be inexperienced, and when the ministers of the parliamentary form of government are inexperienced, they are bound to take the help of bureaucrats. Who are bureaucrats? Bureaucrats are the persons working in government organizations. Okay, and in this way what happens? The ministers are not free to take their own decisions. They have to rely on the bureaucrats for their decisions. Is it clear? And this may hinder the development of the nation. The third point is there is no separation of power in the parliamentary form of government, and therefore the Council of Ministers is vested with both executive and legislative powers. See here, there is a relationship between an executive and legislature. There is no separation of power. So what happens? A legislative member has the right to become an executive, and if he acquires both the powers, what happens? He or she may mislead. Okay? Mislead his powers. As a result, there is the possibility that the Council of Ministers may let loose a tyrannical rule. So what happened? As I told, since there is no responsible of powers between the legislature and the executive, the government which forms the government are the persons of legislative and executive, and this may lead to a tyrannical rule. Understood? They may become the all-powerful. Therefore, this is one of the defects. And another one is, the fourth one is, in parliamentary form of government, what happens? The party consideration gets significant upper hand. The internal political The internal political squabbles among the political parties make the politics quite venomous, which affects the functioning of the government. Here, what happens? The government is being formed by whom? By the political parties. And once the government is being formed, the political party gets an opportunity to bring forth their ideologies. And once they bring forth their ideologies, the other political parties or the opposition party may not like it. And in this way, what happens? A misunderstanding may take place, may arise. Okay, and then the fifth one, that is another demerit of the parliamentary form of government is that the electorate or the voters can't take any measures against the elected members of the legislature till the next election if they ignore the interests of the common people. So now, for example, our government in the center is being formed by BJP party. I am only telling you an example. And then this BJP party has formed the government with single majority. So what happens if they work against the will and wish or against the interest of the common people? The common people are subjected to suffering. They can't change the government till the next election comes. Is it clear? So this is also another defect of the parliamentary form of government. So I think by seeing the video, you could at least understand something. If I have done any mistake, kindly forgive me.